Hello everybody, welcome back to the Champions League stand. The United stand. That is right, Manchester United 4, Chelsea 1, and we're back into the Champions League. It feels like we've gone a lot longer than just one season without it. I actually had to Google when we were last in the Champions League. It feels that long ago. But no more Thursday nights. We're back to Wednesday and Saturday football next season. I can't wait. I cannot wait. Lots to get into. Casemiro talking points. We're going to talk about Rashford obviously hitting 30 goals in all competitions for this season. Possible injuries to Luke Shaw and obviously how bad Antony's might be. We're yet to kind of find out bits about that. So we'll get into that. But I want to welcome in everyone. We're all sat here in the unbelievable shirts from retrofootballkits.co.uk. Unbelievable site. 10% off site-wide, and you can get an extra 10% off if you use the code TUS10. I'll make that clear again. 10% off site-wide, and then you can get an extra 10% off with our code TUS10. How is everybody tonight? Good?
All good,
yeah?
mate. All good.
Top 4 levels, energy needs to be good. Kev, I'm going to come straight to you because not only have you... It's not even a request at this point, it's a demand. We're going to go straight into Casemiro, and I want to hear your Casemiro song. We're going to start off the show.
Get things going,
Get it going, lad. Go on.
He's Casemiro. He's our Brazilian hero in the red and the white. He's gonna be strong and he's gonna be fast and he's gonna make City look shite. He will do in the FA Cup final. God,
Legend.
praying he does anyway.
Legend.
Love it.
The old flicked up collar as well in aid of...
He got a goal for the Eric look in this shirt.
It was his birthday a couple of days ago as well, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
So all makes sense. But yeah, we'll touch on Casemiro. Goal today, I think, puts him around 14 or 15 goal contributions for this season so far, missing, I think that's 7 Premier League. We were discussing that it was 7 Premier League games as well through the sendings off. But Casemiro's performance today, what did you make of it, mate?
Yeah, very, very good. Obviously, it's fantastic to be firstly getting a goal from a set piece. You know, I've been crying and moaning about not scoring from set pieces. And it's so good that we got the goal early from a set piece and then it opened the game up for us a little bit. And just again, he's showing levels today, no look pass, you know, tackling. Yeah, confident, clean tackles, you know, going through the ball at times, making real good anticipated tackles. Just fantastic. And this is what you need. I said this in the last fan forum, is no disrespect to Chelsea, but we should be flexing our muscle. And that's what you saw. The big boys turned up today. Bruno, Casemiro, they turned up today. And fantastic performance. Hopefully we can do the same against Fulham. And Man City will be looking at these games very closely. Very closely.
The next game is big for momentum, isn't it? You don't... I was kind of joking earlier when we were watching it, saying, you know, go and play the kids against Fulham, but it's not really what you want to do. When you've got such a big game, obviously in the final, you do want to keep that momentum going. Ricky, what did you think of Casemiro today? Obviously, you've not been a critique of his, but you've not necessarily kind of praised him as much as everyone else has. But what did you make of his performance tonight?
Absolutely fantastic. If he played like that every week, I'd never critique him whatsoever. He was absolutely superb. He's probably, I mean, he's had, don't get me wrong, he's had plenty of good games. 1 or 2 games where I've not been as happy as everyone else. But, you know, if he played like that tonight every week, it's just an unbelievable performance.
It's what you want from your big players,
unbelievable
right? Big games, big players turn up and... there was a point I was thinking, just stick him in number 9. We'll just buy a new number 6, put him up front. He just keeps scoring, doesn't he, for fun? But yeah, I think to kind of round off the first half, I think they dominated us in the first half. I think they had about 60-odd% possession. I think as well it could have been, I mean it's all hindsight, right? But it could have been a completely different game if that first chance, that Mudryk chance, kind of goes in. Probably the easiest one of the night. They had countless opportunities. And I think it was producer Ryan who actually said, you know, if Manchester United had a proper forward, we'd be 3-0 up. And I said, well, if Chelsea had a forward, it would probably be about 4-3 to them because the chances just kept on falling. It was one of those games, especially the first half, as I say, when we were 2-0 up. I was saying smash and grab. This is ridiculous. I didn't think we played like that bad, but just turnovers in midfield and defence. It was. If they were an informed Chelsea, we could have found ourselves in deep trouble. Were you of the same case?
Yeah, I think at half time, I'm kind of trying to gauge the game, and I'm thinking, yeah, if Chelsea were in the lead at half time, you know, I couldn't have had any complaints. I was more worried about the way that Chelsea could carve us open, you know, at any opportunity. And defensively, I'm looking towards the end of the season. Obviously, we've got a massive FA Cup game. Any other season, if it was just hinging on Champions League qualification, I'd look and I'd think, it's all about getting just the result. But I think we know it's not at the minute. We want to take some kind of, performances and build momentum into the final, which makes it interesting for Sunday's game against Fulham, because some people will say, wrap them up in cotton wool, let's make changes, play the kids this, that. But when you see Casemiro, or Clasimiro, as we like to call him on here, put in a performance like that, he's a player that needs to continuously play in this team. You know, I don't think we can afford to rest him. At the same time, obviously, we don't want injuries, but he has to play for me, because he's a player, when you take him out the team, it takes him about 3 or 4 games to get up to speed, and he needs to be on his A game against Manchester City. All of them do. You know, on the first half reflection, I'm looking and I'm thinking, if this is Manchester City, they're taking their chances. You know, this was Chelsea today. They can't defend, they can't score. It's a hard one to look into, but the second half, great performance by Manchester United, and refreshing to see 4 goals as well.
I can't remember the last time we scored 4 goals, in honesty.
It's proper intriguing about what you're going to do with your team against Fulham, and I do agree with you that he's a player that needs to play, but he's also a player who loves a tackle. So you can think what I'm going to say next. Do you know what I mean? Imagine in that game, because it can happen. It can happen. Imagine he gets a red card in that game. I think I'd be inclined to rest him next week. That's what I think.
Do you think there's a? I mean, again, it's all variables, isn't it? Where you find yourself bringing him off at half time, scoreline dependent. One of them ones. I'm not too sure. There's loads of different ways, but I'm sure Rashford will start as well, because you're going to want him ready for the final, aren't you? He obviously, we'll touch on his 30 goals as well. But I think you're going to want your best players playing, just so they keep ticking over. That's the whole point, I think.
Well, obviously the Anthony injury, we don't know the extent of that at the minute. It didn't look great, but that is certainly going to be a setback. It could, until we actually hear the news on it, be a kind of season ender, really, even though there's only a kind of a week to go, isn't there, really? So
yeah, I saw tweets shortly after it must have been about 20-30 minutes after, and from Sky saying that he wasn't taken to hospital. So therefore, you'd like to say, if it's not. I don't even know actually what happened. You were both at the ground.
I think he went past 2 players, and he was just about to go past another player, and he got slight tackle by
was it
someone.
his ankle? Or?
It looked like just above the ankle, so around the inside shin, around that region. So that's what I kind of made out from looking at it straight. But it didn't. In all honesty, it didn't look like huge impact. It must have been, at the time and moment, it's just, it must have hit a soft area, and he's just, aching and paining, and Ten Hag obviously, as a precaution, has taken him off. But I wanted to say something, if I may, with the Casemiro situation today. One of the things that we must consider going towards the next season is we must get the midfield, the next player that we buy in midfield, very, very correct. Because many of times today you saw David De Gea playing out to Varane, playing out to Lindelof, but we lacked an option that someone can receive the ball and turn. And that's something very, very critical going forward next season with the style of football we want to play. Fantastic player, Casemiro, no problem. But you do need someone that can come in and support him, who can receive the ball and then find him and then move off and then find again.
To do what? To take Bruno's place?
No.
You can only play 11.
No.
Whose place is this player going to take?
Listen, when you're playing fluid football, you're not going to stick to one position, right? Yeah. You're going to be in and around the 8, the 6, the 10. But someone needs to replace Eriksen. And that's who I was going to come on to. Is as much as Eriksen is a great passer of the ball and etc. into this game, particularly today, he didn't seem like he was up to tempo with the team at times. He's a bit slow in tackling. He's a bit slow in running back. He's not physical enough. He's not willing to, hold the ball, carry it, or turn. That's not part of his game, anyways. But that's really missing, because if we had that sort of player today, that game could have been much, much more different. You saw the possession stats, right? I think they had like 50 or 60% possession overall. Next season, the style of football we want to play, that's not possible. Possession-based football, you can't be giving another team 60% possession. That's not how it works. So we need to really get this midfielder position right for next season.
I think we know that Ten Hag is obviously in the market, because there's no smoke without fire. We're hearing Mason Mount, obviously Frankie de Jong, this mould of a player, of somebody exactly like you say. But I wouldn't go as far as to say, when you say replace Eriksen, do you mean
From the starting 11.
Yeah,
I think Eriksen is fine to stay on the bench, and I think he would be very good being a bench player. But I don't think he has that level of intensity that we need for 90-minute period for 4 competitions come next season.
For me, it's all about the squad, isn't it?
Yeah.
We need squad depth. Because how many times are we looking at changing a game and we're bringing on Fred, McTominay? We need a strong bench, especially going into the Champions League next season, trying to fight on all fronts. You know, it's going to be horses for courses. You'll be looking at certain games. And the midfield area, we certainly need. The top teams have players on the bench that they can bring on and change games. Yeah. That's where with McTominay and Fred, I don't think you do. They're players to see games out. They're not game changers.
We talk about, I don't know, because obviously that win has put us up to 3rd, right above Newcastle. And I don't know, because obviously depending on where you finish depends on what pot you go in for the Champions League, right? Is there a difference between finishing 3rd and 4th? Does that depend on what pot you go in? Does anyone know that? Or
I'm not 100%.
Because obviously that can then depend on, if you're in pot 2, as a 2nd seed team, then you can come up against the big...
I think you get seeded through the... what's that phrase that they use? There's a phrase, isn't there, for the positions of each league.
Oh, right. Is it like coefficient
Yeah.
rankings?
Coefficient, that
like
was the phrase I was looking for, yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't think your coefficient is relevant to if you finish 3rd or 4th in the league.
Right, okay, yeah, cool. We'll do a couple of super chats. With top 4 secured, hope we rest some key players on Sunday and keep them fresh for the FA Cup final. Casemiro's world class again. Hope Anthony is okay, says Alex. But well, we've already kind of given our thoughts on resting the players. Ricky will destroy Anthony next season. Look what Felix can do, staying on the pitch, same amount of minutes. He's simply not good enough. Erik ten Hag protects him by not wanting to play Pellistri. Let's see, Ahmad says FD. I actually saw on Twitter a lot of people giving Anthony some criticism today, saying about his decision making. That
guy that's just mentioned Pellistri and Ahmad.
Yeah.
Did he mention somebody else for Anthony's position there? I think he did. Was it 3 players?
He mentioned about Felix, obviously playing for Chelsea.
He didn't mention Jadon Sancho.
No.
Do you see how Jadon Sancho played on the right tonight?
He did play well.
Absolutely unbelievable. Fantastic. I've been banging on all season that we need to play him on the right. He's unlucky not to get 4 assists. He assisted Martial. Bruno should have done a bit decent effort, but should have done a bit better, hit the bar. He pulled one back from the dead ball line for McTominay. McTominay hit the keeper. He slid one right across the box to Garnacho, could have been a bit sharper. And I've Googled this to have a look at it. St Anthony's got... I'm not having a go at Anthony here, he's not right-footed, but I bang on all the time. We need a right-footed right winger and a good right-footed right winger. Anthony's got 2 assists all season. OK, he played on the right wing for an hour and could have had 4 assists. So let's just say one of them would have put one of them away, plus the one for Martial. He could have got 2 assists in an hour. Anthony's got 2 assists all season.
Anthony could have had 3 assists tonight if Martial would have controlled that when he put it on the plate to him. He wasn't switched on in the area.
Even so, he's got 2 assists all season. Anthony, Jadon Sancho on the right, you can just see he's a breath of fresh air. You know, somebody's writing in saying you want Pellistri or you want Ahmad. How did he play tonight? Sancho's fantastic.
And that's where he played for Dortmund, wasn't it?
I feel like Sancho's such a dividing player within the fan base at the minute. Some people love him and are willing to kind of give him, you know, X amount of time, and other people are just fully done with him and just think cash in. You know, if we can get a fee for him, cash in on him.
Get him on the right wing.
Yeah, that's well.
The Godfather has spoken.
He'll be there for the next 2 games, depending on Anthony's injury. But the Inquisition says officially a better season than Arsenal. Stephen Ross says this team needs a midfielder like Caicedo who can play on the ball and share the defensive workload with Casemiro.
Yeah, very much agree.
Tony says we must try for Moussa Diaby. Just wingers coming out of our neck here. Varun says, great inputs for next season. All that is possible only if the Glazers sell. We're going to rot if they stay back. And Gary says, Kev, get the mega pints out for the boys. Champions League, here we come. Good old mega pints.
Mega pints, yeah.
But no, and not to kind of, I don't want to dwell on or kind of overlook the point of Champions League football, because you obviously mentioned there was loads of horns at beeping outside before we went live and kind of expectations changing, but I think getting Champions League football is huge for Manchester United right at this current moment in time, just for recruitment, you know, who we want to try and bring in, and I think doesn't that really affect our sponsorship deal? Because if we didn't make Champions League this season, our sponsorship deal got cut by a ridiculous percentage. So
that has been the case in the past. Yeah,
money,
with Adidas, it dropped by a
money-wise
certain
as well.
amount.
That is huge.
Well, congratulations to Ten Hag as well. He's just made €3 million.
Is that part of it? Part of his
Part of his deal.
Yeah, fair play to him. He can send some of it
deserves
my
it.
way. I need some of that. But yeah, Rashford scoring 30 goals. We've had a lot to say, all of us, a lot to say, various different opinions on Marcus Rashford throughout the whole season. And I'll come straight to you, Ricky, because you've been divisive. You've been someone of the minority opinion, I'd say, with Marcus Rashford this season. Obviously, started on the bench, was forced to come on because of Anthony's injury. Gets a goal, luckily, probably. Obviously, stroke of luck. But 30 goals in all competitions for the season, that's pretty good going, isn't it?
No, you can't knock it. You can't knock it. Fantastic game, 30 goals, of course it is. All I've been saying all along is because everybody's saying, where will we be without him? And I've been saying we will still score goals if he's not there. We'll still score just as many goals. And he's missed. He didn't start tonight, so he's missed 4 games, or three and a third. And we've scored 6 goals in them 3 and a third games, 1.5 a game. It's only a small sample size, but I said that after 1 game, it's not a big enough sample size. It's now 4 games, or it's 3 and a third games. And in 3 and a third games, we scored 6 goals. More than 1.5 a game. So it's still the same ratio of goals, whether he plays or not. Now, there's no proof that will continue, but all I'm saying to you is I predicted it. So far, it's happened. It probably won't need to happen anymore because he'll probably be back in the team. But all I'm saying is don't worry about it. We score so few goals that we will still score 1.5 goals a game, whether he plays or not.
I think, emphasis needs to be, it doesn't need to be. I think everyone sits here and knows that we need a striker so bad, a prolific number 9, right? I think there was a comment, I can't remember who actually was on commentary on what we were watching it on, but I think it was the Martial chance which he fumbled when Anthony put it through, and the commentator said that isn't a number 9's instinct. I don't know if that's because you very much think that Martial's better actually playing on the left.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you be keen to see obviously a striker be brought in and then that kind of pushes Martial out onto the left?
If we could get Harry Kane and we played Sancho on the right and Martial on the left, and I know Martial's right-footed, but he's just that good. He holds the ball so well, he passes it so well. We will create more. He'd probably score more goals coming in from the left. And with Sancho on the right cutting the ball back, like he did today a few times, Martial will be coming onto them from the left wing. He'd probably end up scoring more goals if he was playing on the left wing than at centre-forward. If we had Sancho on the right, Kane at number 9 and Martial on the left, that 1.5 goals a game will get obliterated. Absolutely obliterated.
I mean, the chat will know 100%. I'm all over Harry Kane. What do you think of Harry Kane? I see you've been dancing with your top off for these Neymar rumours, all this. You've been dancing in cars and doing the Jogger Bonito and all this. What Harry Kane?
Of course, Harry Kane. Yeah, of course, Harry Kane.
Faz.
But Neymar is a fantastic player. I'm never going to say no to one of the best players that have touched the pitch in recent years. But with the striker thing, look, one of the issues that I have with Rashford, and I've started to, now that top 4 is secured, we're going to go into the transfer market looking for a striker. A very important thing is we don't cross enough. We just simply don't cross enough. And I think one of the things that Ten Hag needs to look at next season is swapping wingers throughout the game. One of the best chances I remember when Anthony crossed the ball to Weghorst from the left, and he was like an almost an inch perfect cross. And I was like, why can't we do this every game? Why don't the wingers swap? If Jadon Sancho's playing on the left, Anthony's playing on the right for a 15-20 minute period, if nothing's been created or crucial chances haven't been created, swap them. Constantly swap them, because it gives them chance to have a go at different fullback. It gives Sancho his favoured position because he's played that in pre-season as well. He's done well this pre-season. It gives Anthony the opportunity to cross with the left foot. These are things we should be doing. And look, Marcus Rashford, he never crosses. When is the last time you remember Marcus Rashford crossing a ball?
You know what?
Anybody?
I actually think it was the one that I remember off the top of my head was the fan forum before was Ricky talking about going to the byline and crossing it in. It was when we played Everton in the I think it was the FA
Did
Cup.
he go in off someone for an own goal?
And yeah, it was either that one or he crossed it for the Anthony goal. That's how long
And
ago.
look,
Yeah,
if you're going to get someone like Harry Kane, who's such a prolific goal scorer, if Rashford is on the left and Anthony's on the right, you're already subtracting about 6 goals that he could score with his, with headers.
Physical presence headers, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
if you're going to bring a good physical, tall striker who's going to terrorise defenders, you need loads of aerial balls coming in the box. And with Rashford and with Anthony, you're not going to get that, because Anthony's going to cut in and try and cross the ball in, and sometimes it's not going to work. And this is where the likes of Sancho, Pelestri, or Ahmad should be coming in. And with Rashford, I wonder who's going to come in that position to help compete and give us something different, because Garnacho doesn't always cross. He cuts in on the floor. You get the only option we have Anthony, who could cross the ball. So I'm interested to see. But Harry Kane for sure. I think I was almost hell bent on Victor Osimhen. But when you weigh up the pros and cons, Victor Osimhen could be a huge purchase that you don't know that it might work or not. The other way you could do this business is actually pay the money for Victor Osimhen this season and get Harry Kane when he's free. Because let's be honest, we're going to get Harry Kane for 3 years anyways, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, Harry Kane for 3 years. We can actually negotiate with him in January 2024 because he's going to be out of contract in the summer. So why not do that? You're spending 130 million on one world-class striker, and you get the other one for free. Whereas if you buy Harry Kane now for 100 million, in 2 or 3 years' time, you're going to need to spend another 50 million, 60 million for another striker that comes up in that time. Because I remember Ricky saying a lot can happen in 2 years, like Haaland and Gonçalo Ramos, all of these players pop up. In 2-3 years, another player might pop up. But then we'll be in another situation where our striker is 33 years old and we need to spend money again. So the clever business would be to go and get Osimhen and get Harry Kane on a good wage, like he deserves, and get him for free. Because even when he comes then, we can get 20, 30 goals out of him. Are we going to compete for the league next season? No. We're not competing for the league next season. So there's no point putting our mindset that, Harry Kane can come and such can come and we can go and compete for the league next season. No. Get your Victor Osimhen, who can be here for 5 years, and then get Harry Kane in the next season. And you have 2 world-class strikers to go and play for 3 years.
That sounds great, but there is not a chance that Daniel Levy is letting Harry Kane go on a free transfer.
I don't know. I don't know, to be fair, because some part of me's like, he's that stubborn, and he'd rather have Harry Kane, because realistically, you take Harry Kane out that side, right, and they lose those 27 goals. Like, who else is scoring goals? Son's been god awful this season in comparison to what he's usually been. Kulusevski's been toilet. Like, they've got Eric Dyer, Oliver Skipp, all these kind of just washed people. And I just think that without Harry Kane, honestly, Tottenham are just like mid-table fodder at this point, genuinely. And they'd rather
They're not much more than that now.
Well, I know, but you look at they'd rather have Harry Kane for this period that can push them up and up and have that fighting chance of European football, that would then probably get in that. If he was to leave on a free, that's almost like paying for him to leave anyway. Do you know what I mean? In that sense, but if they do,
it's a bit like Lewandowski, wasn't it, when he was at Dortmund?
If they do get 100 million,
when he went to Bayern Munich on a free, they just held out and waited for him. One thing I will say is, if Manchester United do get this sort of world-class number 9, and you're right there, we have to change our style of play totally. Whoever we get there, we have to support and give opportunities to. Because that is the reason we brought Cristiano Ronaldo back to Manchester United, was to make him the focal point of the team. We very rarely put balls in the box. And you could still argue that Ronaldo is probably one of the best headers in world football. The leap. We seen it against Tottenham, actually, didn't we? From a corner, the kind of rising header. We never did that. Ronaldo was, a frustrated figure. Yes, he had his problems and he was coming towards the end of his career or whatever as a Premier League footballer, but we very rarely played to his strengths, I think. And that was a frustration.
One of the things is, though, whoever we do get, we would need to get a 15, 20 million pound or maybe a free striker from somewhere. Marcus Thuram maybe, because Martial just cannot be in this organisation. Just point blank period. It's done, it's dusted, he's listed on the market. So we definitely need, because unless you're going to use Rashford as a second striker and use Anthony, Sancho, Pelestri, Ahmad, all of these other Garnacho, all of these other wingers, right? And use Rashford to play off Harry Kane or Osimhen, then you can try that. But other than that, we would definitely need another number 9 because you want to have a yin and a yang. You know, you can't have the two similar style of strikers. Look at Man City; they have Haaland, the giant, and they have Alvarez, who runs around all the time and gets goals, picks up goals here and there. So that's what we would need as well. Arsenal have the same as well, 2 strikers.
We've got Weghorst.
Oh, oh,
Yeah,
God.
we'll close that on there.
tonight, didn't it?
He was annoyed as well. He was annoyed.
Is
He I think just as Garnacho and Thingy were coming on, he ran to the corner flag and kind of smacked it.
Right,
he was not happy. Yeah,
Right.
he was not
The
happy.
only person that
like
was
his
annoyed
style.
that Weghorst didn't get on was
Yeah,
Weghorst.
Oh, bless
I'm
him.
Ricky.
Bless him.
Fred Flintstone, member for 29 months. That's a long time. As well as Sancho played offensively. Defensively, he was bad. Chelsea targeted his side most. First the left and then the right. Mahid says, start Sancho and Anthony as a sub right winger for the energy. Rudolph says, rarely agree with Ricky, but Jadon on the right, I do. There you go. You've got someone.
Convince somebody.
And that is the position he played for Dortmund, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it
And,
was.
you know, you scratch your head sometimes, don't you? You think you buy a player like that and you've watched him play so many times in that position, and then it's not rocket science, is it, really?
I want to touch on some of these quotes coming out from Ten Hag talking about Champions League. Because, again, he says this club belongs in the Champions League. I think there was a comment from Bruno, actually, who mocked Liverpool a little bit. I do just want to find that. He had a little jab at him. He said along the lines of, I can't find it now, but he said along the lines of, we're happy that Liverpool aren't in there, but that isn't, our focus. That a lot along that line. And also, Salah, just before we went live, put out this emotional, heartfelt speech on Twitter about how devastated they were and how disappointed it's all their fault and they should be in the Champions League, all this, that, and the other, and it just does make it that little bit.
It's lovely
better,
to hear, isn't it?
It does make it that little bit better. And there is, where is it? There's a nice Europa League ball that you can see out of shot. I'll grab that quick.
Get rid.
If I can reach. Here we go. Don't
Throw
fall
it to
over.
Liverpool down the M62.
old, yeah. Where is it? That way. Bye. We have to get the Champions League one in. We have to get the Champions League one in, the proper one soon, won't we? But yeah, no, I think overall it was a pretty good game. We're getting the champion. Is this even?
Hey,
go on.
Champions
On your
League.
head.
Here we go.
Better.
There we go. That's it.
Bing bang bosh. That's a goal-winning header right there. But I want to talk about the Anthony injury because it looked, as we touched on it a little bit earlier, but it did look quite serious, didn't it? In the sense of, I think he was actually crying. Like it, when you're on the floor and you can see someone's like almost like back, like as if they're crying, and the fact that he went off in a stretcher. But he didn't go to hospital, and obviously now Shaw came off. That was a precaution. The injury as well. I think it came out. Was it a back injury? I think something like that. How pivotal? I mean, Shaw is a no-brainer for the FA Cup final. Is it? You just give Shaw a rest for the Fulham game if it is a precaution, because whether we do need him at centre back, left back, centre mid, up front, he could do it all wherever he wants to play. Do you just rest him for that Fulham game, just with the hopes of him coming back? Yeah,
I think. Look, against Fulham, even if we get a draw, I'm happy. It's not the be all and end all, and Luke Shaw has been probably one of the most consistent players this season, and it's very important to have him against. Very, very important to have him against City. In terms of Anthony, I actually feel it's precaution. I think the stretcher and all of that stuff is precaution. But you could see how devastated the manager was. He went up to him straight away. Who was it that I think? Who else got stretchered out this season? Remind me.
Eriksen.
Yeah.
Van der Beek.
But the gaffer didn't go. I don't recall the gaffer going up to the player and thinking and consolidating him. But with Anthony, he did. Not saying that the gaffer doesn't love those players, but you could tell he was devastated because City game is coming up shortly. But it's very important to have those two players ready. And I just hope as the hours go on that we can find out that both are okay. Again, subbing off Luke Shaw at half time is again very precautionary like move, because I think knowing Ten Hag, he would know that Man United have bottled 2-0 leads before. So why would he go with Malacia? But it's okay. I think they'll be fine.
It's the versatility of Luke Shaw as well, like you say, isn't it? The fact he can play left back and centre back equally as good is impressive. But again, you're looking ahead to a cup final, and you think he needs to be wrapped up in cotton wool. He's not somebody that needs to be playing every week. If there's a slight knot there, you rest him on Sunday.
Erik ten Hag becomes the third Dutch manager to finish in the top 4 of the Premier League. Can anyone guess who the other 2 were? One of them's, I guess, a little bit niche. The other one is quite obvious.
To finish in
the top 4. Third Dutch manager.
Well, Al did it once, didn't he?
Correct, that's one.
your man from Chelsea, was it Gus Hiddink?
Gus Hiddink, there you go. Well, ball knowledge. That was back in 2008 and 9, and obviously Van Gaal was 2014-15. But the Bruno quote, which I was referring to, he says, "We are happy for Liverpool to not be there, but for us, it's not about that. It's about getting the best for ourselves."
I wish he wouldn't have said that.
So,
I don't like all that.
a little.
Ricky,
dig,
how much stick did we take after that 7-0 drubbing?
I don't think we get it from players, do we?
I'm sure the players.
I think, to be fair, he would have been asked, kind of
prompted,
provoked into giving out something like that. But yeah, as I say, the quote's coming out, belonging in the Champions League and just about showing the winning attitude. You can see Chelsea have outstanding players. Counter-attacks were really good, really dangerous. We should have scored more. I think that we've discussed that we on another night we could have they could have scored 4, we could have scored 7. It could have been like the most ridiculous game of the season. One player I do actually want to touch on as well is Aaron Wan-Bissaka and how just overall important he's actually been for us. Right, Dalot again benched. Dalot pre-World Cup was outstanding. Wan-Bissaka didn't get a look in, whether it was for injury or out of favour, whatever it was. And now post-World Cup, obviously, Dalot's form's not been bad, but it's not been as good as it was. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka has proven probably everyone wrong, 99% of fans wrong, in the sense of he's shown that he can adapt and he can be utilised in this Ten Hag system. Do you guys, I'll just open up to whoever, but is anyone against having Wan-Bissaka here next year? Because out of the 2, a while ago, that was, Wan-Bissaka was the one who was going to probably be sold.
I think as a right back at this moment in time at Manchester United, he is the main man. I don't think it was that way a long time ago when Dalot was ahead of him in the pecking order. I still believe Dalot's a better attacking kind of fullback, but I think Wan-Bissaka will be more trusted. He'll probably tell, as long as he is fit, in a cup final against Manchester City, I think Ten Hag will definitely opt for him because defensively he's brilliant. He's got better and better. I've said it before, the fact that he's got proper coaches coaching him now, he seems to have taken that on board. I think under Solskjaer he just lost his way. I do not think the regime under Solskjaer, coaching-wise, I don't think any players that Solskjaer bought got any better. I don't think any of the existing players at Manchester United at that time got better. But now you are seeing under this coaching regime that players are raising the levels and that there is healthy competition for places, because it wasn't long ago that Wan-Bissaka, it looked like the door was open for him to go and overlooked for England. What else does he have to do to get in that England squad? We were talking earlier, I think it's an absolute joke that you're telling me Harry Maguire, gets in for England. The guy's not even playing for Manchester United.
We were saying, weren't we, that some players, you look at it and it's like, yeah, you deserve to be there on credit. Lewis Dunk, for instance, obviously playing outstanding for Brighton, has been given the call-up. But then you look at Maguire and Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips had 1 start in the Premier League, I think, for City, which was last week.
Nothing game last week.
And Maguire has meant to be our captain, right, and has been kind of shunned. I don't really understand. Regardless if you take Wan-Bissaka out of the situation, I just don't really understand that point. But a little bit as well, just loads of quotes coming out here on Marcus Rashford's contract negotiations. Ten Hag had to say, "We're working on it. I have a good feeling about that. Marcus wants to stay, and we want him to stay." What do we think Marcus might be might be put on a week? Because I think it might be
Listen, I remember when I said $350 a week, and people absolutely lost their mind. And there is a specific reason why Dalot's contract is getting sorted out. David De Gea's is getting sorted out. Luke Shaw's has got sorted out. It's a very business-like way how Man United is doing these negotiations. They are waiting to sort out all of these other players who aren't going to be on astronomical amount, and wait until the biggest player that they need to sign, put pen to paper, is Marcus Rashford. Because I said it months ago, and I'm going to say it again. By the time Marcus Rashford is going to be done with us, Man United's bank account is going to be in It's already in overdraft. I think they're going to have to call Klarna or something by the time Marcus Rashford is done with Manchester United, because the boy can demand whatever he wants. And whether, people behind the keyboard like it or not, that's how business works. He scored 30 goals and plus, what is he? Overall, he's like nearly 50 GA in all comps, which is ridiculous. His agent is going to sit down and say...
Isn't his brother?
Yeah, his brother. He's going to sit down and say, my client has actually exceeded all of the expectations you had individually. So there's no way you can offer him, what we want to...
Well, I'd like to say...
We're going to drive the negotiations.
I'd like to say that off recent contracts, the De Gea contract that possibly may or may not be happening, obviously the Garnacho one, that there's been a lot more incentives introduced rather than just you're on this. You have your basic and then you have your incentives for whether it's a win bonus, a goal bonus, clean sheet, all this, which seems very just like, normal thing to have in, but maybe that wasn't.
It should be. I've always thought that's the way that football should go, is it should be performance related. If you're a goal scorer and that is your job, then a big bulk of that should be made up on your performance. If you're scoring goals, the same with defenders, goalkeepers, keeping clean sheets. It should be enhanced like that, because the amount of money that's thrown around, man, these kids, there's kids on at Manchester City, there was some kid that was on something like 50 grand a week, never played for the first team or anything. It's unreal.
Mika Richards, when he was young at City, was on like 80 grand a week.
Ridiculous, man.
Ridiculous, yeah.
We wonder why they lose the way, and never make it into the team. They're given so much, far too much at an early age, but at least you would have that focus that if you knew you had to perform.
35,000, I think. 45,000.
I mean, look, and he doesn't. He's made what? One appearance. It's been about 20 minutes this season so far.
But that's what Haaland's contract's like. His contract has a lot of incentives. He has his basic, but he has a lot of incentives as well. So I think that would be fair for Marcus.
All his incentives this season.
The thing is, is Marcus Rashford going to be willing to negotiate that? That's the thing, because he might accept a incentive-based contract, but he'll again tug and pull on the numbers money, because he can. Yeah. Out of everyone, he can actually drive the negotiation. So
speaking of Garnacho, the instant impact that this kid has every time he comes on the pitch is ridiculous. Second to none. He just seems to be getting better and better, and probably should have at least scored one. Obviously, you mentioned it earlier, didn't he? He also hit the bar from a deflection. He probably could have came on and had a hat-trick, in all honesty. But I made a Instagram video the other day saying, is Garnacho the next Manchester United number 7? Almost, engagement baiting, but is it going that way, or is it too soon? The number 7 shirt weighs kind of too much, too soon. What do we think, Kev?
The number 7 shirt is very prestigious at Manchester United when you think of the players that have worn it, and I'm a bit old school in the believing that I think you have to earn your right to you have to earn that shirt. I don't think I would go throwing it at Garnacho. I've seen the likes of...
So do we wait then? Do we wait?
Yeah, I would be. Again, yes, he is performing. The thing with Garnacho is, as an impact player at this moment in time, it looks really good. And Ricky's touched on it before. When games are stretched and Garnacho comes on, that's when he seems to flourish. Now, you start him in a game. I'd be interested, let's say, for instance, on Sunday, if he starts the game. I think he's earned the right to, be given a shot and see if he can get a place in the cup final team, if he performs on Sunday. I've seen him start games before. He is not the same player as he is when he gets this kind of free roll and he gets to come on this evening when things are great and he can go running at defenders. The number 7 shirt, I think, just heaps... Listen, different players take to it differently, but I just think it puts more pressure on the lad. I remember Antonio Valencia coming to Manchester United and taking the 7 shirt. I think he lasted 1 season, and he give it up. He said, I want my old number. Whenever he was at Wigan, he just said, it's not right. Michael Owen wore it, for God's sake.
There has been a fair amount of failures, I guess, for number 7 as well. Obviously,
it's
Sanchez,
quite a superstitious thing, but I do think
number 7 as well.
It seems to me at United, it does weigh heavy on some players, as if the United shirt itself doesn't.
Again, for me, Garnacho's been pivotal, and this has been like a breakout season for him. But I'm interested to hear, and a lot of people in the comments are actually interested to hear your thoughts on Garnacho, Ricky, of what you think going forward in future seasons he could potentially offer us.
How old is he?
18.
I wanna,
18.
yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant as an impact sub, without a doubt. I'm still not convinced that he should be in. I mean, about probably 3 or 4 games in a row, or 3 games in a row while Rashford's not been fit, people have been saying start Garnacho, start Garnacho. I've been saying start Sancho, start Sancho. Sancho's still a bit stronger. He's a little bit older, obviously, but he's a bit stronger. He looks after the ball a bit better. He's not got the same. You see, Garnacho excites the fans because he runs at the defenders and takes the defenders on. And if we're honest, it's not often, it happens, but it's not often he beats them and gets into the box and gets a goal. He does get goals, though. Got a goal. Who did he score against the other week? Good goal on the breakaway against Wolves.
Yeah.
He scored a cracking goal there, a late goal. Was it against Aston Villa?
He scored against West Ham in the comeback in the FA Cup.
That was it, West Ham. That was it, West Ham. I just think for starting games at the minute, I would just leave it be. He's 18. He's getting on for 15, 20 minutes. He is having an impact. He does get the fans on the edge of the seat. But I believe that there's a base built for that to happen by the players who start the game, who look after the ball well and keep us in games and sometimes in front in games occasionally. Like Martial, I like the way Martial looks after the ball. I like the way Sancho looks after the ball. And these players, they might not excite you like Garnacho excites you, but I think they've got an important role to play. And then when somebody comes on, as Kev's just said, when the game's stretched, Garnacho comes on for 20 minutes, and it's a lot easier for him to not decrying him, not taking anything away from him. It's a lot easier to beat people, to get breakaway goals in the last 20 minutes than it is in the first 20 minutes.
I think there was actually some quotes. It was a while ago now of Ten Hag saying he's proven that he can do it coming on, but it is now time to prove that you can do it over a 90-minute spell. And it will be interesting to see whether he does play against.
Well, the proof is on that. Sorry to jump in. Is that he has started games where Ten Hag's brought him off at half time because you can see he looks a bit lost. I said this the other week. It's totally different playing a team from the first minute when you set at 0-0 and 2 teams. You've got a team that's got a game plan. Let's say it's at Old Trafford, for instance, and you've got, I don't know, a Southampton who are fighting for their lives, and they are going to set up very physical and very difficult to beat. They're coming for a point. That's a totally different game to Garnacho coming on this evening when Man United are winning, the fans are all behind them, the game's stretched. Chelsea didn't look great at the back, and there's space for Garnacho to run right. But at the same time, I'm not taking anything away from the lad. He's a great talent, very unpredictable, that's what I would say. And that comes with being 18 years old. Yeah. He's going to be direct.
Yeah.
Can I just say,
Garnacho,
if I may, give him the number 7. I actually think give him the number 7. We have taken a lot of risks with Man United, buying big name players for number 7, throwing it about to X, Y, and Z. But when you feel a certain type of attitude and ego from a player, especially me, you guys know I like flair players and things like that. I like players who have a FU attitude on the pitch. And certain wingers have that, certain players in this football era have that, like Neymar, like Ronaldo, all of these big players. I can already sense it of Garnacho. He has this, he walks the pitch after he scores like he's supposed to be there. And I know it's early, people will say, okay, he's been an impact player. But statistically, he's been the best impact player off the bench in the Premier League. That speaks volumes. At 18 years old, he's grafted hard for his contract. He's got his contract. Next season, he's not part of the obviously solid starting 11. Next season will be the most pivotal season for him because it will, he's earned it. He's earned his place in the starting 11, if you ask me. Not maybe in all Premier League games, but in some cup games, in domestic cup games, he's definitely earned his right to be in the starting 11. And if there is anyone that we should be taking a risk on, it's not players that we buy for big money. It's our homegrown players. Okay, he's not the ideal right from baby homegrown. He's obviously come over from Europe, but still, he's been in the academy. He's won the Thingy Award, Young Player of the Year award before. He's scored in the FA Youth Cup. He's been astonishing since he's come into the first team. He's kept his head down. He works hard, and like I say, he's got this FU aggressive attitude about him. This attitude that it doesn't matter when the chips are down. It doesn't matter if you play City. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. I'm going to make something happen. And that's what you need to kind of, you want to keep that fire going in him. You know, he's got the number 7 even tattooed on him. His Twitter handle is number 7. He absolutely adores Cristiano Ronaldo. He's got Cristiano Ronaldo boxes, you know, and yeah, he does. And
How do you know that?
Well, it's on social media.
What are you Googling?
I keep an eye on my players. And look, if any of our wingers has taken any kind of leaf out of Ronaldo's book, it's Alejandro Garnacho. You can just see it. You can just see it. I think he asked Ronaldo for the match ball when Ronaldo scored a hat-trick on one of the games. I remember. It's just give it to him.
I don't think he needs the added pressure.
No,
you've just said yourself, man. He's not even in the start. He's not even a starting 11 player for United.
Look, pressure gets to someone who lets the pressure get to them. Certain players are built for it. They're bred to be under pressure. They're bred to be under the lights. And I think he is one of them. I really believe that he is one of the players that's actually born to be under the lights and under this pressure. And some players just thrive under pressure. He did it against City, man. He had City on smoke.
Hopefully you can do it again.
Came on as a sub, though.
Yeah, I was going to say impact substitution, but...
Mahid says, the last great number 7 we had was someone who the manager entrusted and was daring without fear of anyone. Give him the 7 and time to grow in it. I mean, loads of people in the comments, again, it's been quite a divisive subject in the sense of some people are very keen on it. Some people are like, no, what's he done in his career, all this kind of thing. I mean, it's by the by for me. I think at the end of the day, if someone's got to have it or no one's going to have it, and you either wait for one of the current crop and just give it to him, or we sign someone, and then is it made a bigger deal if you sign someone and give them that 7 shirt? Is it then made a bigger deal than giving it to Garnacho? I'm not too sure. But
Martial cried for the number 9, and look what.
Well, I mean that was a big issue when Zlatan came around, wasn't it?
Well, he had the number 9, yeah, and then Zlatan took it off him, or Mourinho.
I mean,
rightfully so.
Zlatan does Zlatan things, doesn't he? This show's flying by. We've got about 15 minutes left, so let's touch on, obviously, a little bit about Fulham. What do we expect? Ricky, I'll come to you first in terms of last time we played Fulham was obviously the big sendings off, wasn't it? The 3 red cards in about 30 seconds. Obviously the manager, Willian and Mitrovic. Are they just both of us fighting? I don't think Fulham can kind of do anything, can they? They can't. No. There's not like a late Europe charge or anything like that. So it is just. Is it going to be just one of those boring games, do you think? Or do you think Manchester United or Fulham will come back for some sort of revenge just to beat Man United? You know, we're yet to lose at home, I think, in the Premier League, right, this season.
I put a thing on Instagram today where I said it's obviously a mathematical fact that we need 1 point out of 2 games, and it was a mathematical fact. But to me, we needed at least 1 point out of 1 game, not 2 games. You know, I know we had 2 games to get it, but it was tonight we needed that point. That game at the weekend, because we've got what we've needed tonight and more, is now an irrelevance to us, but it's also an irrelevance to Fulham. So the game changes dramatically. I didn't expect the game that we got tonight, by the way, from them. Just with a tiny little bit of luck, bad luck for us and good luck for them, we could have lost tonight. If we're sat here now having lost, we need 1 point out of 1 game again.
It's a huge game.
It's 1 point out of 1 game tonight. It's 1 point. I look at it as 1 point out of 1 game twice rather than 1 game. 1 point from 2 games. I know it sounds mad, but there's a difference. There's a difference. So if we wouldn't have got that point tonight, we're going into that Fulham game, then needing a point. Now, what you've just said, will they want to show up? Will they want to do this? They definitely will. I would answer that question absolutely without a doubt. If they could spoil the party, they can't spoil anything now, can they? Yeah. So they might not be up for it. You know, it's just finished now, isn't it? It's finished.
Yeah.
City did it, didn't they, when they played Chelsea? They won the league and played it, yeah. And we've got, you know, we'd probably go, I'd probably go, I'm not sure about the keeper, might keep De Gea in, but I'd go Dalot, Maguire, I'd keep Lindelof in, Malacia, I'd go McTominay and Fred. I definitely won't play Casemiro. Can't trust him to possibly get a red card. I'd go McTominay and Fred. Have we got anybody to take Eriksen's place? I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head.
You give Kobe Mino something.
Yeah, Kobe Mino. But then up front, I would go give Garnacho a start, like we've just been discussing. Why not at the weekend? Weghorst at number 9. Who've we got for the right wing? Palestri.
Start.
I'd like to see.
I mean, there
Balestri,
must, because that's
We've
again.
got, it's a decent side, but but Fulham the good side.
Yeah, a lot of people are questioning why Erik ten Hag isn't giving Palestri minutes, because when he has played, he has shown up.
I think he's been great, Palestri.
There must be everything, because he doesn't just give people opportunities.
Can I just say, right, Charlie? Sorry. We're just absolutely raving about Garnacho, and I do think he does great. I don't think Palestri looks any worse, or that's the wrong phrase. I think he looks as good. I think Palestri looks great when he plays. Yeah. Really good.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why people are kind of looking at it as if, why is he not being given more minutes, even if it is Garnacho minutes, these substitute 10, 20 minutes when we do need something else, because Palestri does offer something different to what Garnacho, Rashford and Martial and Sancho, Anthony even. I think he has had an assist for one goal a while ago. Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because we have, especially when Ahmad comes back as well, we do have a kind of plethora of options on both wings. So it'll be interesting to see kind of pre-season what gets figured out there. But Sean says, again, that was touching on the number 7 shirt. What did Ronaldo do before getting the 7 at first? I mean, again, it's just different people's kind of opinion on various bits and bobs. But a lot of comments coming in talking about Mason Mount as well. Obviously, the Chelsea link. I saw loads of social media tweets and stuff saying that Mason Mount was going to be celebrating in the Man United change room tonight after the game, and all this banter back and forth. But just quickly, Mason Mount has been linked heavily for the past 2 days to Manchester United for like 55 million. Again, another divisive opinion. I just want a quick yes or no.
No.
Yes.
I'll sit on the fence. You've got 3. It's a draw.
No, you can't sit on the fence.
I do like him. But to me, is his best position not wide on the right?
You know what?
That's what I think.
I don't even know. He's played almost like an 8. He's played 10. He has played wide right as well. There's multiple positions that he has played. He's been so out of favour. Loads of people now saying 55 million is a joke. No Mount. You know, I feel like he is a...
Is that 55 million for some other teams or for Manchester United?
I don't know, because I've seen...
It's a right chunk, isn't it?
I've seen that the link to us is that we're willing to pay 55, but Chelsea value him around 75, which is with one year for a player like Mason Mount, who hasn't been playing much as well, is ridiculous.
Is he fit to play?
I don't know. Frank Lampard actually said in the pre-match interview something about he doesn't know where he's at personally. I think was the quote as well. So I don't know. And Mason Mount was one of Frank Lampard's like most favoured players, wasn't he, when he first came in? And he also had him at Derby, didn't he, on loan? So, in all honesty, I don't know. Loads of people not even interested in Mount. But then some people are saying get Mount and leave Kane. So.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if that's just a wind up, honestly.
As a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, possibly. Dennis saying, why are we looking at Chelsea's trash? I mean, look, Arsenal are supposedly in for him as well, Liverpool as well. So there is obviously a decent player there. I just do think that the reported wage that he's asking for at Chelsea, I think he was asking for over 300 odd grand a week, and the fee as well. I think that's what's putting a lot of people off. And the fact that he's not having a very good season. But I think Gary Neville was saying pre-game that he's almost a coach's dream player, of just the workhorse, just does everything, you know, like a brilliant, almost just coaching type player, and doesn't necessarily get all the praise for the goals and assists. And he's very much just a coach's type player. But is what it is. Harry says here, all top coaches want Mount for a reason, by the way. There you go. 300k a week is mad. I mean, it is.
And that's what we've been talking about, trying to get this midfield area, haven't we? Players in there that are competing for places. I mean, that's why I'd say, well, yeah, of course I would, because...
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
If our manager wants him, you know what I mean? That was supposed to be here to back the manager.
Yeah. I look at it a little bit like, if this 55 million is a thing, then if we are reportedly going to sell, whether it's McTominay or whoever it is, say we were to get 30 million for McTominay, well, then just go and put them two together and go and get Caicedo. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how I kind of look at it. I'm all over Caicedo. I mean, you are as well, right? He's an unbelievable player, and I'm sure he won't be at Brighton.
Absolutely levels above Mason Mount.
He won't. I mean, different types of players, right? But Yeah, he's proven he can play right back. He's been playing right back past few games as well, isn't he?
Crazy.
Incredible player. But we're coming last 5 minutes. We'll get a few score predictions.
Man of the match.
Oh, we'll do man of the match first, actually, as well. Yeah, that'll be good. Ricky, we'll start with you. Man of the match for tonight's game.
Am I allowed to give it to anybody I want just because I want to give it to him?
Yeah, go on.
Because really,
Mix it up.
really, I think it could really, and probably it'd be a clean sweep for Casemiro, but I'm going to go Jadon Sancho.
Okay. And why is that just...
I thought he had a fantastic game. He gets a lot of stick. There'll be a lot of people now probably coming in the chat sort of saying,
I'm waiting for it.
I'm
waiting for it.
I thought Jadon Sancho, especially when he got switched to the right. Somebody put on there that they came down that right-hand side. I'd like to watch it back again on screen, but I remember lots of good defensive actions by Sancho. Lots where he nicked the ball back. I want to see it again. I've only seen it live at the game. I'm sure he nutmegged somebody in our own box to pass it to someone. I'm sure he did. When he nicked the ball back and passed it straight away. There was another incident where, do you remember the ball that came in from the left and sort of Wan-Bissaka helped it on towards the corner flag with his head, and Sancho chased it towards the corner flag with 2 players hot-tailing it after him. And when he reached the corner flag, without looking, so the corner flag's there and we're attacking that way, he turned back this way with his left foot and threaded it between the 2 players that were chasing him, and Wan-Bissaka was onto it. Wan-Bissaka's racing up the pitch. He races past Wan-Bissaka, who gives it him back. He wins a throw-in in their half from a position where we were under pressure in our own box. He actually chased the ball back. Can't really call it winning the ball back because it was a loose ball. But if you want to call it that, he won the ball back on the corner flag and did a great pass and a great run and got us out from being under pressure. He did some good. They got in down both sides, but I thought Sancho did fine defensively. From what I saw.
A lot of people are saying, well, some people are saying they disagree, but a lot of people are saying that Sancho would be the second choice to Casemiro.
Yeah, I wouldn't really disagree with that. But if I can give it to him, I'm giving it to him.
Kev?
Yeah, I'll go for the popular opinion, I think.
The good old
Casemiro.
song,
He's Casemiro.
It needs no explanation, right?
Not really, because I'm just glad that I've sat here so many times this season singing this man's praises, because
Literally.
the amount of people that were at this guy the minute they signed him, we'd overpaid for him, he's not the player he was at Real Madrid, knobheads like Graham Souness carrying on, what is he, he's a steady Eddie.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that.
He's a lot more than a steady Eddie.
I'd love to speak to Graham Souness about that because I think it's great to have a good steady Eddie in your team.
Well,
I really do. Do you know what I mean? Great to have a good steady
I don't even think Souness made it. What he was trying to get. I think he was just being too smart.
Well, he said,
Souness,
he said along the lines
just
of
a steady
he's
Eddie.
played with great players. He's not a great player himself.
As if he was some kind of water carrier or just
the ball he gave to. I know Sancho gets the assist for Martial's goal. But the ball he gave to Sancho tonight for that was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, he's incredible. You're going to Casemiro as well?
I want to actually mention Aaron Wan-Bissaka first.
Some people were,
because today, I've said it all season, going forward, Bissaka needs to improve. I was actually, yesterday, I was looking back, I was researching on Bissaka's pre-season videos of him training with his personal coaches, and I was looking at how he was trying to get out of areas of pressure, receiving the ball, moving it, and finding different areas. And then in today's game, he was doing similar things. And one of the scenarios where I think a couple of Chelsea players are almost at the edge of our box, and he's managed to drop a shoulder and turn and make one-touch passes, and because he's passing and moving, it's helping us get out of these kind of difficult angles and situations. And he needs a lot of prop. I know Jadon Sancho obviously did fantastically well, but the fact that Ten Hag was so adamant on buying a right back, it was his first transfer to buy was Timber in Man United, and he's got a player who's probably thought in the back of the head that the gaffer wants to buy someone. He's come in the club, and the first player he wants is in the position that I play. This is not happening, not under my watch.
That crumbles a lot of other players,
That
right?
crumbles a lot of players, yeah. Some players would be like, right, I'm done. I'm gonna look for a move. But Wan-Bissaka's gone the total opposite direction,
Got his head down,
and he's just been so much better. And actually, in those preseason videos, he was practicing crossing. So I'm very excited to see how he goes on and
still
improves
needs to keep
that.
practicing.
Yeah, still needs to keep 100% still. But even today, you know, back heeling the ball to Bruno when he's not looking, just being aware of where his players are and everything is just really, really good. It helps us to have great balance with Luke Shaw and Bissaka. It's really, you know, the back line is so solid. Come June 3rd, it's not about attacking. It's about locking up the shop. It's about making sure Man City is stopped. And then, you know, you can have a puncher's luck to go and maybe get a goal or extra time or penalties, whatever it is. But it's about locking it up. And with Wan-Bissaka, I'll be honest, when Wan-Bissaka plays, I feel so safe. It's like when you sleep at night, knowing all the doors are locked. Nobody can come in, and you've got a Rottweiler inside the house. Nobody's getting in. You're safe. You can sleep sound. That's how I feel. So I want to give it to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I know Casemiro and Jadon Sancho is fantastic shout, but Wan-Bissaka just
I think
deserves
Bruno would be
praise.
up there as well.
Yeah.
He got the penalty from a nutmeg as well, didn't he?
Lovely penalty.
I mean, for me, it was Casemiro. But one thing I do want to say is, obviously, this cup final coming up. If there is one team that's going to beat Man City, I feel like it is us. And maybe that is because, obviously, I'm a Man United fan. But I just do think that if there was any team in the Premier League right now like that can beat them, and whether we deserve to, we get battered all game and nick a 1-0 win, like, I don't care, ultimately. It is just win that game at all costs, isn't it? It is literally... It
has to be. Man City are coming on horseback to raid our village, and it's not happening. No, you're laughing, but it's not happening. Many of great men have fought, right, when they're down on soldiers, and it's okay. It's fine. You can. Manchester United players need to go and look at Julius Caesar and all of these other great warriors and whatever back in the day.
It's like 300. You ever watched?
Yeah, the film 300 and you know, just whatever. But on June 3rd, it's about David versus Goliath, and we know how that story goes. So it is possible. Man United fans who are scared, be scared. And on June 3rd, don't turn off your TV and go to sleep for 24 hours and wake up on June 4th. Because if you're not with me on June 3rd, then you're not with me on June 4th on the parade when we stop Man City. Because we must believe. We must believe. If there is any message we must give to these players, it's belief.
It's the rallying cry.
Is fans who are scared will make the players feel like the fans don't believe in them. And I believe in my players because it's not about winning a trophy. Man City versus Man United FA Cup, that is a trophy. It's not about trophy. It's about my DNA, my surname, my heritage, all of these shirts that we wear. It's about pride. Can you imagine being in Aldi and scanning some items and the guy next to you has a Man City top on? I'd have to take this off and turn it inside out. I'm not doing that. It's not possible. We are winning that game by any means necessary. It doesn't matter. And Man United will come out on top. And if you don't believe, I repeat, please don't turn on your TV. Do not dare celebrate and see you on June 4th when we win. You're not coming on the parade.
Good speech.
The last time this man did a rallying cry was before we played Liverpool. And you said, we will beat Liverpool.
Oh, second time lucky.
Yeah, I mean, what a way to round off the show. That
was a very good speech.
Yeah.
If I ever do another
speaker.
manager's job, I'm taking you in a dressing room.
Ten Hag will have that minute speech up on in the dressing room. Do it for this guy, United stand. No, but really good show. I can't remember the last time I've seen Man United score 4 goals, I'll be honest with you, and against Chelsea as well. Thoroughly enjoyable game. Thoroughly enjoyable fan forum as well. But yeah, don't forget also to check out retrofootballkits.co.uk as well. As I say, 10% site-wide discount. You can get an extra 10% off using our code TUS10. Brilliant stuff. Leave a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe if you aren't already. And we'll catch you after the Fulham game where hopefully we've secured 3rd and, well, Champions League's already done.